Okay, so you've all sent us like a ton of articles about AI, and it seems like everyone's talking about the future, like arriving faster than ever, talking computers, AI predicting NFL games, even a digital crystal ball letting you chat with your future self at age 60.
Hmm.
But instead of, getting lost in the hype, this deep dive is all about figuring out what these advancements actually mean for you.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see AI's impact widening so rapidly. We're not just talking about like incremental changes anymore. This is impacting,
Yeah.
everything from your personal life to massive industries.
So let's start with that whole like chatting with your future self thing. Researchers at MIT created this AI system called Future You. It's a program using a large language model, basically, like a superpowered chatbot, that pulls information from your data to simulate how you might think and act decades down the line. Is that as wild as it sounds?
It certainly captures the imagination. The idea is that by having this back and forth with a simulated older you, you gain like a new perspective on your current choices. Imagine getting advice from someone who's, lived your potential future. It taps into this idea of future self-continuity, how connected we feel to who we might become.
So it's not fortune telling, but more like holding up like a mirror to your possible future self.
Exactly. You give the AI information about your values, your goals, and it uses that to create a plausible future scenario. Early studies suggest this can actually, reduce anxiety about the future.
That makes sense. If you feel more connected to who you might become, the future seems less scary and unknown. But here's where it gets really interesting. This AI doesn't just answer questions about what your future looks like. It can also explain how you got there. Like, did you finally write that novel? Or switch careers? The AI uses its database of your, quote, future memories to show how those choices played out.
That's a powerful concept, right? It makes those future possibilities feel a little more tangible, a little more within your control. You're not just along for the ride. You're actively exploring potential paths.
Okay, but enough about predicting the future. Let's talk about how we interact with technology right now. Microsoft is making waves with their Copilot AI platform for Windows. They're rolling out Copilot Voice, which lets you literally talk to your computer like you would to, another person.
Yeah, this is a huge step towards making human-computer interaction more intuitive. We're used to voice assistants like Siri and Alexa, but integrating that directly into your operating system, that has the potential to like change how we use technology every single day.
Imagine saying, hey, computer, help me draft an email asking for a raise. And it actually understands what you want and does it. But get this, it gets even more futuristic.
Indeed. They're also piloting something called Copilot Vision, which lets your computer like see what's on your screen.
Okay.
So you could be browsing Netflix, and instead of typing in like search terms, you're having a conversation with your computer about what to watch.
Wow. So it's like having a tech-savvy friend looking over your shoulder,
Yeah.
but hopefully less judgmental about your movie choices.
Right.
It seems like Microsoft is positioning themselves at the forefront of this, like, AI revolution.
It's a bold move, no doubt. And it raises some really important questions about how these advancements will change the way we live and work. But before we go down that rabbit hole.
We have to talk about NVIDIA, right?
Yeah.
They just sent shockwaves through the tech world by open sourcing their new AI model, NVlm 1.0. This thing is a beast. It's right up there with models from like giants like OpenAI and Google.
This is huge. By open sourcing it, NVIDIA is essentially making this powerful tool available for anyone to use and modify.
Wow.
Imagine giving every single software developer access to the same, like, cutting-edge AI technology.
Okay, so I'm like, no tech whiz, but even I can see how that's a game changer.
Yeah.
What kind of impact could this have on the industry?
Well, for starters, it has the potential to, like, level the playing field.
Yeah.
Smaller companies and independent developers who don't have the resources of a tech giant, they now have access to the same tools.
Right.
This could lead to, like, a surge in innovation as more people can contribute to AI development.
So it's like suddenly opening up the world of like professional filmmaking to anyone with a smartphone and a good story idea.
That's a great analogy. It'll be interesting to see how this open access to such advanced technology changes the landscape of AI development.
Yeah.
Will we see an explosion of creativity and new applications, or will it also, raise concerns about misuse? Only time will tell.
And speaking of potential misuse, this next story is going to make you think twice about putting on a pair of smart glasses.
Two Harvard students, they used readily available AI tools and Meta's Ray-Ban smart glasses to basically create like their own facial recognition system.
Yeah.
They were able to identify people just by, looking at them.
Wow.
The AI pulled up names, addresses, even phone numbers.
That's creepy on a whole other level.
Yeah.
It's like something out of like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
This story really highlights how easily this tech could be like misused.
Right.
What are the implications for like personal privacy when anyone can be walking around with an AI detective like strapped to their face?
You've hit on a huge concern.
Yeah.
As AI becomes more sophisticated and more accessible, like what we're seeing with NVIDIA,
Right.
the potential for misuse grows alongside it. We need like stricter regulations and ethical guidelines to make sure these advancements are used responsibly.
It's a tricky balance though, right?
Yeah.
Encouraging innovation while preventing, harmful applications, especially when this technology is evolving so rapidly.
Absolutely. And it brings us to another major player in the AI field, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT.
Right.
They just raised a staggering $6.6 billion in funding.
Wow.
That gives them a valuation rivaling some of the biggest tech companies on the planet.
Okay, wow. That's a clear signal that like investors see huge potential in AI.
Yeah.
But with that kind of money comes pressure, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean for OpenAI's like future?
Well, investors are pushing for OpenAI to become, a for-profit company, and this could significantly impact their research priorities. The question becomes, will their focus shift towards like commercial applications and generating revenue, potentially at the expense of their original mission to develop AI safely and beneficially for everyone?
It's a classic dilemma, the push and pull between progress and profit. How do we ensure that like ethical considerations don't get lost in the race to make money from AI?
That's the million-dollar question.
Speaking of which, you had an article about AI making its way into the world of like sports predictions. Apparently, some platforms are using AI to analyze data and predict NFL games with like scary accuracy.
Right.
Is this the end of fantasy football as we know it?
Well, let's just say it adds a whole new layer of complexity and maybe even controversy. The article you sent mentions Sportsline, a CBS Sports property that's developed an AI system crunching massive amounts of data to predict everything from, game outcomes to fantasy points.
Right.
And they claim it's been incredibly accurate so far.
Yeah. So it's like having a team of like super statisticians working around the clock to give you an edge in your fantasy league.
Yeah.
I wonder if it can predict the Oscars.
In your award shows. But you do raise an interesting point. The applications for this kind of predictive AI are vast. We're already seeing it used in, finance, healthcare, even marketing. But the question remains, how comfortable are we with AI predicting our behavior and making decisions that, impact our lives?
It's like a lot to think about. AI predicting everything from football scores to our own behavior.
That's all the more reason to stay engaged. Don't check out just because it, feels complicated. The future of AI is being shaped right now, and we all have a stake in the outcome.
I like that we all have a stake in the outcome. It's a good reminder that this isn't some like predetermined future we're passively drifting towards. We have a say in how this, unfolds.
Exactly. And that's an empowering thought, isn't it? We have the ability to steer these advancements in a direction that benefits humanity as a whole. It all starts with staying informed, asking critical questions, and making our voices heard.
So, to wrap things up, if you're feeling inspired to learn more about AI, consider its implications in your own life, or explore ways to get involved in shaping its development. We've included some resources in the show notes.
And remember, the most important thing is to, stay curious. The future of AI is a story that's still being written.
And that's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of AI. We'll be back next week with another episode, so be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Until then, keep exploring.